Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Meet the Candidates Night, a forum sponsored by the Public Policy Committee of the YWCA Piqua. I'm Nancy McMacken, and I will be this evening's moderator. Tonight's forum is being presented before an audience at the YWCA in Piqua and is being recorded for later broadcast by WPTW Radio, and it's also being videotaped by the Western Ohio TV Consortium for rebroadcast on Piqua Channel 5. On your seats, you will find a yellow measurement tool which we ask you to fill out and turn in at the door before leaving this evening. The information is needed for our United Way funding. Thank you for your help in completing this. This evening, we'll be hearing from candidates only in contested races in the Piqua area, namely from candidates for 1st and 5th wards for the city of Piqua and for mayor for the city of Piqua. Additional issues on the ballot include Piqua Public Library levy renewal, represented by Jim Oda, Library Director. The Miami County Bridges levy renewal representative is Paul Hulskamp, Miami County Engineer. And Brian Green, Superintendent of Riverside Developmental Disabilities, will speak on their levy renewal. Rules for the forum are as follows. The issue representatives and candidates will each be given 2 minutes to address the audience. Following these initial presentations, written questions from the audience will be accepted, and candidates and the issue representatives will each be given 1.5 minutes to respond to the question. The order in which candidates respond will be rotated. The written questions must be of a general nature and must be directed to a particular office or issue, as opposed to a particular candidate. Forms for the question are provided, and committee members will collect your handwritten questions. Please realize that in the interest of time, not all questions may be presented. At the conclusion of the question response period, each candidate and issue representative will be given 1 minute to offer closing comments. These closing remarks will be offered in reverse order of their initial presentation. In the interest of fairness, time limits will be strictly enforced. Our timekeeper, Kathy Alexander, will hold up a sign when the speaker has 30 seconds remaining, and a bell will sound as time expires. In an effort to conduct tonight's forum in a timely manner, I will announce the order in which the issue representatives and candidates will be speaking. We ask each speaker to move to the microphone as the speaker before you draws to a close. Identify yourself at the microphone and begin speaking. Any campaign materials provided by tonight's speakers or others will be available on the table in the outside hallway. As a reminder, I ask that those of you who have written questions, please hold them up for members of the Public Policy Committee to pick up. We also ask that you hold your applause for the candidates and issue representatives until the conclusion of tonight's forum. Jim Oda, representing the Piqua Public Library levy renewal, will speak first, followed by Paul Hulskamp for the Miami County Bridges levy renewal, and last will be Brian Green, representing Riverside Developmental Disabilities levy renewal. I invite you to come forward.
I'm Jim Oda. I'm representing the Piqua Public Library and our levy renewal. Like all of our levies, we are a renewal, no new taxes. That's an original phrase. The library is an integral part of our community. We feel that having a library in a town is something that says, this is a town that I want to be in. So we look at economic development, we look at cultural development. We serve a wide variety of people, interests, and the library is more than just a place of books or DVDs. We are also a cultural center. We have meeting space, we have art, we have history there, and it is someplace that a lot of people come. In a given year, depending on the specific year, we have over 100,000 people that come in the front door. We are a institution that is used, and it is used heavily. We can offer you computers. We can offer you books. We can offer you almost any kind of material that is available out there, and we want you to come in, and that material is always, always free. So we ask you to support the Piqua Public Library Renewal 1.3. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me here tonight. My name is Paul Hulskamp. I'm the Miami County engineer, and I'm here to speak to you regarding the Miami County Bridge Levy. As you may be aware, the Miami County Bridge Levy has been a significant source of revenue for my office since it was first passed in 1951 and collected in 1952. Since that time, we have collected over $24 million and used it to design, build, and maintain bridge structures here in Miami County. I'm proud to say that our bridge system is one of the best county-maintained systems in the state of Ohio. This is due in large part to the generosity and stewardship of the people of Miami County and the civic pride displayed by them. Many of our bridge projects are quite remarkable, such as the Shawnee Bridge here in Piqua and the Adams Street Bridge in Troy, both completed in recent years by my predecessor, Douglas L. Christian. Many of our bridge projects are on roads that the majority of the citizens of Miami County may not frequent, such as Bradford Bloomer Road and Snodgrass Road, which both had bridges completed on them in recent years. An important fact to note regarding money generated by the bridge levy is that while some of the money is spent directly on projects, a significant portion of it is also used as matching funds in order to bring money back home from Washington, D.C. For example, the Eldine River Bridge, which is currently under construction next to the covered bridge, that's also due to be open in 2 weeks, has recently been contracted for construction at $2.4 million. The local share of that construction that was paid by bridge levy funds is less than $150,000, or 5% of the cost. So we use this money to leverage to get federal funds back to Miami County. With the above in mind and the fact that this valuable source of revenue will expire if no action is taken, I respectfully request the voters of Miami County to vote yes on the renewal. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brian Green. I am the Superintendent for Riverside of Developmental Disabilities. I'd like to thank the YWCA Public Policy Committee for sponsoring this event and allowing us to come and talk about our campaigns. Since the 1950s, the Miami County Board of Developmental Disabilities, better known as Riverside, has offered services and supports to all ages for those individuals with developmental disabilities. Our mission is to empower individuals with developmental disabilities to live, work, and play as full members of the Miami County community. Currently, we offer supports close to 900 people in Miami County from birth to the end of life. These services provided by Riverside include case management, early intervention services for children ages 0 through age 5, physical and occupational therapies and speech therapies, nursing services, recreational activities, Special Olympics programs, community housing coordination, adult day services, employment training, transportation, and incident investigation. Services are also provided through another 126 local agencies or independent providers to individuals with developmental disabilities with direct funding from Riverside. These services include homemaker personal care, employment training, and adult day programming. We provide all these services with funding from 3 sources: a $1.7 million continuing levy, which covers approximately 20% of our operating expenses, the state and federal funds from Medicaid, which covers approximately 40% of our budget, and this current $2.5 million levy on the ballot November 3rd, which will expire December 31st, 2016. And with support from the Miami County taxpayers, we hope to renew this levy. As a renewal levy, there are no new taxes being requested. We hope that on November 3rd, the Miami County voters will continue to care by voting for our renewal levy, which is under the name of the Miami County Board of Developmental Disabilities. Thank you.
Moving to contested races, we will begin with candidates for Piqua City Commission First Ward in alphabetical order. Nicholas Alexander will speak first, with John Martin following him. For Piqua City Commission Fifth Ward, Catherine Hines will speak first, followed by Gary Koenig. Candidates for Mayor City of Piqua will be Catherine Hines first, with Gary Koenig speaking last.
My name is Nicholas Alexander. Graduated from Piqua High School in 1998. Went off to college up at Eastern Michigan, studied geography, and got to watch firsthand as the small town of Ypsilanti tried to reinvent itself, move itself forward, partially because of some of the success of the college there. And then I moved to Westchester, another nice small town. I'd say both towns combined, not counting college, would be smaller than Piqua, but a lot of growth down there. And fresh out of college, degree in geography, I actually got to watch things I saw in practice that I had studied in college. Actually seeing how new roads come together and how new projects help make a better city. My family moved back up here to Piqua after leaving, 6 years after leaving for college. And again, I got to watch some of the beginning projects of Piqua begin to change the town from how it was when I grew up. I went back, got my master's in organizational leadership, and now understand even better the intricacies of how the various departments work together. And I can see where there are places where it seems like things are slowing down. I understand change. It was a major concept in my second degree, and I believe I can help make sure change progresses forward in this town. Thank you.
Hello, my name is John Martin. I'm the First Ward City Commissioner in the City of Piqua. A little background is graduated Lehman High School in 1981. When the city started having issues with property maintenance, they had the neighborhood improvement team go around and start looking at the neighborhoods. And in the process of doing that, they also started looking at ways to have the neighborhoods help themselves. And they started neighborhood associations. I was the first neighborhood association president in the city of Piqua. And through the 2 years that I did that, we had a lot of things that happened that were good for our neighborhood. We had a neighborhood garden added. We did help for people for painting their houses. We tore down a shed. We did a lot of work that normally the city would cite you for, and then you would have to take care of it. But with the neighborhood association, they'd talk to us and the homeowner, and we would come to terms as to what would be the best way to do it, and we would make it happen. I've been Piqua City Commissioner almost 8 years. And the 8 years I've done it, I've learned a lot. I'm kind of a jump in with both feet type person. So, and to do this, that's what you gotta be. The first probably year or so was mainly a learning experience. How everything works in the city, how departments work, how people interact, how departments interact with the public, and then ways that basically as a commissioner, sometimes you have to get in the middle between the city and the residents to make things smoother. And that's one of the things I like doing. I like to make it so people get what they need done, but they also, it's more non-confrontational. Thank you.
My name is Catherine Hines, and I'm running for Fifth Ward Commissioner. As Fifth Ward Commissioner, I promise to work diligently with those who are working to position Piqua for increased economic growth. Our downtown is one of our biggest assets that we have here in our community, and I see more local businesses open up as it becomes even a more bigger asset for us. It's wonderful to see our local citizens step into the business world and to make their dreams a reality. I want to vision with other citizens who might have the same dreams of small business and to see how they too can bring those dreams to reality. The riverfront development that is currently underway is one of the most important moves Piqua has taken in many years to enhance commercial, retail, restaurant, and tourist venues in our fine city. I promise to work hard to make sure that the positive movement with the riverfront continues to happen. As a pastor in the parish setting, I have worked diligently reminding folks what we hold in common, even though there are places that we disagree. In our city, there will also be times when we will see things very differently. But the important thing for us to remember is that we all are part of Piqua, and we must hold that forefront as we seek the best way for our city to move forward. Budgetary concerns are the top of any taxpayer's list, and for the past 15 years, I have been responsible for balancing budgets and expenditures both in the church and in my board positions in the many non-for-profit agencies that I serve. You know, a great community has many parts. It must be safe, it must be comfortable and friendly, and it must also have places for play. Studies have shown time and time again that play is important and central in all of our relationships. Our parks are a place that we can play and a place that play happens. Our parks are another one of the assets that we have here in our community. Thank you.
I would like to express my appreciation to the YWCA for hosting this Meet the Candidates Night Forum. My name is Gary Koenig. I humbly request the citizens of Piqua vote for me on November 3rd for 5th Ward City Commissioner and Mayor. I'm not greedy in requesting that you vote for me twice. The City of Piqua Charter requires that an individual must hold a City Commission seat in order to be elected mayor. In these opening remarks, I will present my work background and why I am best qualified candidate for both positions. In my second remarks, I will share some personal background, my recent civic experience, and goals as mayor and Ward 5 City Commissioner. My work background starts after I graduated from the U.S. Military Academy at West Point with a Bachelor of Science degree and spent 10 years in the Army in tanks. I then earned a master's degree in civil engineering and worked for the next 10 years in the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers building locks and dams, parks, roads, and reservoirs. My family settled in Piqua after my retirement from the U.S. Army about 20 years ago. I've been working as a licensed professional civil engineer in Ohio for the last 20 years. I work at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I work in the Civil Engineering Department, which is responsible for roads, building design and construction, facility planning, and utilities. Basically the same services that the City of Piqua provides to its citizens. My job is to take problems and turn them into solutions. I also lead a team that adopts civil engineering best practices for the entire Air Force. I have found a real connection between how the city operates day to day and the work that I've been doing for the last 20 years. I am the best qualified candidate as I will leverage my work experience to provide outstanding city services to the City of Piqua when you vote for me as your 5th Ward City Commissioner and Mayor. Thank you.
Casey Hines for Piqua Mayor. T.S. Eliot said that home is where one starts from. How true that is, and the one thing that we all hold in common here in Piqua is this is where we call home. And it is true that if we are all to survive as a community of Piqua, Ohio, the place that we call home, we must find ways to cultivate relationships that we have here in our community. We've seen this done in events like the 9/11, a Day of Honor, that I co-chaired with Mike Yancey on September 11th, 2011. On that day, folks from all over our community gathered to remember and give honor to those who lost their lives in that horrific terrorist attack on our country. A Day of Honor truly was a day of unity for our community. Events like these are important for us as a community because in its true self, gatherings like these provide a sense of belonging for us and an orientation of life moving towards a common goal, showing that we have a common witness as a city. I promise to find more ways for us to do things like this and to come together as a community. I am committed, as I have said before, to listen to all voices here in our community and to have an open door policy. Now, it's true that I will not have an office at the city building, but even so, I will find other ways that citizens can connect with me. If elected, I will have coffee with mayor gatherings at places such as our local parks, restaurants, or wherever citizens would like to meet. I'll even come to your home and have coffee with you. These gatherings will be places where citizens can come and have a cup of coffee, share their visions and dreams that they have for the city. In Piqua, it is important that we find ways to gather, to be a place where people of all kinds can live together in peace. Finally, I want you to know that I love Piqua, and I give thanks that this is where our family was called to live some 7 years ago. And I want all of our citizens to say with me that they not only love Piqua, that they cherish Piqua. Will you join me in loving our community? Thank you.
Again, my name is Gary Koenig. I'm running for 5th Ward City Commissioner and Mayor. Some brief personal information about me is that I am married. My wife and I have 2 sons who both graduated from Piqua High School and the Ohio State University. We have 1 granddaughter. I'm a member of St. Mary's Church in Piqua. I like to hunt and play golf, often at the City of Piqua Echo Hills Golf Course. Additionally, I serve my civic experience since my last appearance before this YWCA forum 4 years ago included graduating from the first Piqua Government Academy. Additionally, I serve voluntarily on the City of Piqua Planning Commission as a planning commissioner. In 2014, I served as chairman of the City of Piqua Planning Commission. I am currently in the first year of a 4-year term on the Planning Commission as a planning commissioner. This historic East Piqua Master Plan has been my favorite project on the Planning Commission, as I was the Planning Commission representative to the steering committee. I am also on the City of Piqua Housing Council. My first goal as mayor is to represent the views of the Piqua citizens on the City Commission. There is no greater use of time than gathering citizen input, evaluating the feedback, and developing plans to improve the level of service to the citizens of Piqua. We need to prioritize the city budget to provide outstanding services to the City of Piqua. It will be a significant issue to keep the City of Piqua budget balanced over the next 4 years. I will work to ensure that the citizens of Piqua have responsive city services, power, police, fire, utilities, and administration. Promoting economic development and bringing good-paying jobs to Piqua is critical. I will market Piqua in the Miami Valley region. I'm a big fan of the Riverfront Development Project, as I believe that'll be a win-win for the City of Piqua. Thank you.
Pat Williams, Cheryl Neuenschwander, and Karen Wendelin, representing the YWCA Public Policy Committee, will present information on the 3 state issues, along with proponent and opponent statements. Pat will report on issue 1, Cheryl on issue 2, and Karen on issue 3. Their reports are for information only, and questions on those issues will not be accepted.
The following is a brief overview of State Issue 1 as presented to Ohio voters on November 3, 2015. Issue 1 would create a bipartisan public process for drawing legislative districts in Ohio. This process would take effect immediately after Election Day if the issue is passed by a majority yes vote. Every 10 years, Ohio draws new legislative district lines based on changes in population as reported in the U.S. Census data. State Issue 1 will replace the present apportionment board with a bipartisan Ohio Redistricting Commission. Issue 1 would amend the Ohio Constitution to change the way the state legislative districts are determined. The U.S. congressional districts would not be affected by this process. First of all, the members of this commission would include the following: the governor, the auditor of the state, the Ohio Secretary of State, and then appointees of the Speaker of the Ohio House, the President of the Ohio Senate, the Minority Leader of the Ohio House, and the Minority Leader of the Ohio Senate. This Ohio Redistricting Commission will be responsible for creating district maps for the Ohio House and the Ohio Senate. The commission would have established rules for map making, which would ensure compact districts by keeping communities together, by preventing the splitting of counties, cities, and other governmental units unless necessary. It prohibits gerrymandering of districts along party lines with no Ohio General Assembly map being drawn to favor or disfavor any political party. For the map to last the 10 years, at least 2 members of the minority party will have to vote in favor of it. If only one party supports a particular map, then the district lines will only last 4 years. The arguments for passing Issue 1 include: it prohibits partisan gerrymandering now written into the rules in the Ohio Constitution. It requires transparency and public hearings, which will encourage accountability to the electorate. Districts will better protect community cohesiveness by limiting government units such as counties and cities from being split. It also eliminates the continuation of previous gerrymandering by removing language from the current Ohio Constitution that requires any new maps to be reasonably consistent with old maps. Arguments against Issue 1. Many Ohioans are not Democrat or Republican. Third parties are not represented by the Commission. 2, Issue 1 does not address the process for determining U.S. congressional districts. 3, the Ohio Redistricting Commission is not independent from legislators, so they can still influence the process. And 4, a bipartisan commission member can still make sweetheart deals that can result in districts that are not representative of the state's overall partisan preferences.
State Issue 2 is an anti-monopoly amendment which was proposed by a joint resolution of the Ohio General Assembly to protect the initiative process from being used for personal economic benefit. A majority yes vote is required for the amendment to be adopted, and if approved, the proposed amendment would take effect immediately after Election Day. Issue 2 would prohibit an initiative petition amendment to the Ohio Constitution that would give special business rights to a certain person or entity. Specifically, Issue 2 would prohibit an initiative that creates a monopoly, a cartel, or an oligopoly, specifies or determines a tax rate, or confers a commercial interest, commercial right, or commercial license to any person or entity for the purpose of exclusively enriching its members and prohibiting others from engaging in similar enterprises. Issue 2 will require the Ohio Ballot Board to evaluate any proposed initiative petition to determine if it violates the prohibition above by creating a limited commercial interest. Arguments for the passage of Issue 2 include: 1, exclusive financial deals for special interests should not be enshrined in our state constitution. 2, the state constitution should be used to protect fundamental rights for all individuals, not cluttered with special interests. 3, 19 states have constitutional provisions banning monopolies and protecting free and fair commerce. Ohio should too. Now, the arguments against the passage of Issue 2 include: 1, the Constitution should not be amended to interfere with the constitutional initiative process and block a measure approved by the voters. 2, the language is too vague and may unintentionally preclude future policy or tax issues from being brought forward as an initiative. 3, Issue 2 gives the ballot board too much discretion to declare a proposed initiative to be a monopoly and force it to jump through 2 hurdles instead of 1.
State Issue 3 is an initiative petition presented on the November 3rd, 2015 ballot for the voters of Ohio. A majority yes vote is required for this amendment to the Ohio Constitution to be adopted. Issue 3 would grant a monopoly for the commercial production and sale of marijuana for recreational and medicinal purposes in the state of Ohio. Issue 3 has a twofold objective. First, to legalize marijuana for personal and medical use, and second, to establish rules for the growth and sales of marijuana. The growth and cultivation of marijuana would be limited to 10 predetermined specific grow sites situated throughout the state. These 10 sites already have designated investors. There would also be a number of predetermined quality control sites throughout the state to test the product being cultivated. About 1,100 retail outlets would be allowed to sell marijuana, but they would have to buy only from the 10 specified sites and could not develop their own sources. Individuals would be allowed to grow up to 4 marijuana plants and process up to 8 ounces of actual product at one time. The 4 plants would also need to be bought from the 10 specified sites. Under the initiative, individuals possessing or cultivating over 100 grams of marijuana would be committing a felony, and selling marijuana outside of the sanctioned outlets would also be a felony. Arguments for the proposed issue include: first, marijuana would, within strict limits specified by this initiative, become legal to cultivate, use, and sell in Ohio for both medicinal and recreational use. Second, Issue 3 would create rules for a tightly controlled industry. This would ensure that marijuana grown at these sites would address the standards needed for public safety. And third, Issue 3 would create tens of thousands of jobs in Ohio and eventually generate millions of dollars in tax revenue to support local government services. Arguments against Issue 3 include: first, the state constitution should be used to protect the fundamental rights of all individuals, not used to enshrine an extremely detailed plan creating exclusive financial deals for a group of special interest investors. Second, the initiative would set up an exclusive business scheme that eliminates competition to such an extent that independent business owners could be permanently locked out of what is projected to be a billion-dollar market. In addition, individual users who do not abide by the strict restrictions would still be subject to criminal penalties. And third, Issue 3 would flood Ohio with marijuana and with marijuana-infused products like candy and cookies that put the public health and safety of Ohio's adults and children in danger.
Written questions from the audience will be directed to the candidates and to the issue representatives at this time. Our first question is for our mayoral candidates, and the speakers will be Gary Koenig first, Catherine Hines second. The question is, what are your thoughts on landlords who do not keep up their properties? What can you do and what will you do to ensure that the landlords maintain their properties in good repair?
The citizens of Piqua a few years back, my name is Gary Koenig. I'm candidate for mayor and 5th Ward City Commissioner. The citizens of Piqua a few years back passed a property maintenance ordinance, and I believe that the city has been doing a good job of following up and policing that ordinance. The landlords, actually not just the landlords, but all property owners have a responsibility to keep their properties in a safe and good appearance. And the way that to do that is through, there's inspections that are done by the city staff, and if the property owner, for instance, in grass cutting, if it exceeds the height limits, then the city arranges for a contractor to cut those grass. So there's property maintenance. There has been an idea that was discussed at one of these sessions with regards to having some type with regards to rental properties, an occupancy inspection tax that was looked at, not necessarily a tax, but a permit that was looked at some time ago. There was some commissioners there. They may want to revisit that. As the mayor and 5th Ward City Commissioner, I have one vote on that, but I think that's an idea that is time to revisit. Thank you.
Casey Hines, 5th Ward Commission candidate and mayor candidate. You know, I've asked that question myself, and one of the things that I think we really need to look at is our zoning. and really looking at the zoning laws that we have and making sure that we are holding those up in the places that we need to be holding them up. There are many places around our community that, you know, not only landlords but other places where obviously things are left in disrepair. And I know there's many people who have houses next door to them, and they spend so much time keeping their house up and keeping their grass mowed and things maintained that the person next door does not, and that of course then brings their property value down. So I think definitely looking at zoning and enforcing the zoning that we have. I believe we have good zoning, but I think we need to enforce it a little better, not only with landlords, but with all around our community.
Our next question is for our candidates for the Piqua City Commission. Order of respondents will be John Martin, followed by Catherine Hines, Gary Koenig, and then Nicholas Alexander. The question is, what specifically will you do to increase the number of jobs in Piqua?
John Martin, First Ward Commissioner. One of the things that we need to keep doing to get jobs in Piqua is to keep making Piqua enticing to outside development. By doing the riverfront development in the downtown is drawing more looks to Piqua from the outside communities, and that's probably where we will get a lot of our new development. To keep the riverfront going will be part of my ideas to get this done, and also probably make sure the downtown's done, and also we need to work on our streets. When somebody comes into our town, if they come into town and they get their teeth jarred loose from driving on our streets, they're not going to be real happy. So we need to do our infrastructure so that we can make the most of our money that we use, and that way when people come in to look around, they get to see everything, and then also they get to, it won't be as, I can't think of the word right now, but it will be better for the city of Piqua for development. I think some of the things that are helping us now is the riverfront and all of the events that are held downtown for on weekend events, because it gets people into town. Thank you.
Catherine Hines, Fifth Ward Commission Mayor candidate. I think, you know, the reality is we have 2 county seats, one north and one south of us, and unfortunately that's where a lot of big business tends to go. I will work diligently to bring big business here, but I also am wondering if there's another niche that we can really fill here in our community. Business incubators are something that is happening around our country. And what that means is it is a place where small businesses, people who want to start a small business can come. And those incubators are places that have support services and other things that they might not be able to support on their own, that they can then use and help start the small business. And so I really wonder if that's something that we can have here in Piqua that many other communities around us do not. And with that, it would bring those 20s and 30-something folks that we have been so desperately wanting to stay in our community to come and know that this is a place where we will support them, we will encourage them in their small business, and that we will provide a wonderful place for them to grow in their economic dreams.
Gary Koenig, candidate for 5th Ward Commissioner and Mayor. To increase the number of jobs in Piqua, the economy is really starting to build up. There's a lot of jobs in the area that people in Piqua should be going after. Clopay, just down in Troy, is expanding, and some of the employees down at that establishment have been there for 40 years. They really love that employer. We have Piqua employers that are starting to expand. As the economy grows, you'll get more jobs in Piqua. But I still think that there's an opening for professional jobs in Piqua. I think I've talked to a lot of other people like my family, where their young people leave, get outstanding skills, go on to universities, and The reason they don't come back to Piqua is there's just no professional jobs for them to get back here. They get better opportunities elsewhere. That's great, but I think in Piqua, we need to work to attract professional type businesses. And I think projects like the Riverfront project, which is kind of an upscale connection to the downtown area, will attract a type of employer that would bring in professional jobs. So we need to market our skills, our ideas to in the region to get more interest in what we're doing here in Piqua. And I think that will specifically increase the number of jobs in Piqua.
Nick Alexander. Business in the last 50 years has changed drastically. A lot of what businesses looked for even 20 years ago is not the current model for business development. Piqua doesn't need to do what we did 30 years ago, 40 years ago. We need to actually do what other towns are doing now, to do what businesses that want to expand globally, how they want to operate and market themselves. We need to do more than just having shovel-ready land. We have parks that are not well taken care of, just a few miles away from parks that have been meticulously cared for. And sometimes the small ones do end up lost in the shuffle. But when a business comes to town and wants to look and say, do I want to build here? They're going to look at our parks. They're not just going to look at the flagship park up on the hill. They're going to go through the community in the little parts of town and see the parks hidden away in a corner that haven't been touched. We need to bring the entire town up as one. The festival like Bike Fest, better parks, the streets, all that will help improve the image of the city and help bring in more businesses.
Our next question is regarding the Riverside Developmental Disabilities Levy. How will state and federal regulations impact your organization in the next 10 years?
Brian Green from Riverside. That's going to be a tough question to answer in 60 seconds. There are a lot of changes that are coming our way from the state and federal, one of which is what they call conflict-free case management, meaning that Riverside funds individuals in the community. Let me move it up so you can hear me. We fund individuals based off of a partnership that we have with Medicaid, and that allows us to participate with local funds at $40 or per 100 or 40% per services that we have. The regulations that the state has right now is stating that they don't want county boards to continue to case manage and fund services and also provide that service itself. And that would affect us in our operations of RT Industries and any of our adult day services. 55% of adults that are served in a day service program in Miami County are served by private providers right now. 45 are served by board-run programs, and so we're going to be challenged in the next 9 years or so to divest ourselves of that particular duty, I guess, over time. So we had already been doing this process since I think 2009 through natural attrition, and so it just is accelerating our normal plans that we had already had put in place. So. So I think that's going to be our largest challenge with state and federal pressures that we have.
Thank you. Our next question is for Piqua Public Library. Does the library receive any income from the rental of Plaza Banquet Center? If so, what percentage of the overall income does that provide?
Jim Oda, the Piqua Public Library. No, we receive absolutely no money from the fourth floor rental. We receive no money from the city of Piqua. So there's nothing that really impacts us on that fourth floor or the 2 first floor rentals. Those all the funds for that go directly to the city of Piqua. Thank you.
Regarding the Miami County Bridges Levy, how many of our bridges in Miami County are functionally obsolete, and what criteria determine this?
Paul Hiltzkamp, Miami County Engineer. Oftentimes on the news you'll hear two terms, structurally deficient and functionally obsolete. Those are very broad terms that I don't really like to use because they tend to panic people when you say their bridge is structurally deficient. We have in Miami County 17 bridges that are posted for reduced loading. Those are our structurally deficient bridges. As long as you don't go over those bridges at a weight greater than the bridge is posted for, you're fine, which is mostly, I mean, a typical car is 4 tons, so generally a lot of our reductions are like 20%. So they can handle well over a car. Our functionally obsolete bridges are generally what we consider narrow or one-lane bridges, which they generally have the signs on either side to let you know that you need to squeeze in to get through. Those are what we consider functionally obsolete bridges. Other than those two things, the bridges in Miami County are in great shape. We currently have 17 posted bridges in Miami County. One of those is the Elding Covered Bridge, which we're not going to do a whole lot with that one. One of those 17 we just tore out and are replacing up on Troy-Sydney Road right at the county line. We have 23 narrow or one-lane bridges. So while we've done a lot of work throughout the county, I'd like for you to pass a levy so we can continue doing it.
Our next question is for our candidates for mayor. They will respond first Catherine Hines, then Gary Koenig. Since the city manager is the chief executive officer of the city and the mayor has no more power than another commissioner, how will you bring the change you are promising?
Casey Hines, mayoral and 5th Ward Commission candidate. You know, I believe working together, and I think through conversation and through working with the other commissioners, talking to citizens, and talking and having a good relationship with the city manager is very important. Yes, this is a volunteer position, if you will, but at the same time, there's a lot of time and energy that needs to be put into this position. And I think about meeting with the city commissioner on definitely a weekly basis to keep my hand in what is going on in the city, to have an idea of what's going on in the city, to be able to work and kind of move through the different issues that we are facing. And so definitely a relationship, one that is working together and aware of all that is going on, is important. Yes, it is just one vote on commission, so really the mayor is more a figurehead. The other commissioners have the same exact number of votes that I would have, but at the same time, I think encouraging and promoting the city and working with the city manager to bring the city to the places that we need to be will be important.
Gary Koenig, candidate 5th Ward City Commission and Mayor. I have been really impressed, surprised, and pleased as I've been campaigning with the mayor with the type of interaction that I get from citizens when you say you're going to be the mayor of the city of Piqua. And the position gives you positional authority, power, whatever you want to call it, to impart good ideas and share good ideas with the citizens. So I think that being promoted mayor as opposed to the commissioner gives you positional authority to lead the city of Piqua. And the citizens defer to the mayor more so than they do to the city commissioner. And I'm finding this by talking to citizens in my campaign. And it's great. How do you affect change? Just what I was talking about. Another thing that you do is you operate and you control the agenda at the commission meetings. You control the agenda of when meetings are going to be held. I think they call it the bully pulpit, when you can talk to the citizens and talk to the citizens about important issues and things they need to know. Thank you very much.
Okay, we will take one more question that is for each of the candidates for the Piqua City Commission. The order in which you will respond: Catherine Hines, Gary Koenig, Nicholas Alexander, and John Martin. Do you, as a commissioner candidate, support the library levy?
I didn't write it.
Catherine Hines, 5th Ward Commissioner, candidate and mayor. Yes, I do. I do. I think our library is one of the shining stars that we have here in our community. It is a lovely place, and it is so much more than a place to go check out a book. Every time I have family or friends come visit me here in Piqua, I take them to the library because I am proud of our library. Our library is a museum. It has so much of the history of our wonderful community in it, and you can just walk through the library and see the history of the churches is there. The history of our community is there. There's beautiful art on the wall. It is a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful place. So I support it wholeheartedly, and am very excited and proud of what we have with our library, because it is a shining star, and the other communities around us do not have anything as nice and beautiful as our library.
Gary Koenig, candidate for 5th Ward City Commissioner and Mayor. I was just telling the library director, Jim Oda, before the session how pleased I was that I have a billboard down and across from the library, and it's right next to the library billboard. So I was pleased that there was a connection between my campaign and the campaign for the library funding. So I am a big fan of the library for a lot of the comments. When my family comes from out of town, we oftentimes have brought them to the library. It's a very elegant entrance, and during the renovation of the library, I brought a number of engineers in on several occasions because of the ideas for retrofit. It's just a fantastic engineering accomplishment and very elegant. I think but what it does for the community in terms of providing free resources supported by the levy is a wonderful thing. It helps our young people to complete their educations and move on up to have successful high school and college careers. I think it's a wonderful resource, helps all the citizens, and for that reason I support the library.
Nick Alexander. When my family comes to town, we don't go to the library, unfortunately. My family's been in this town for about 6 generations and haven't really gone anywhere. So, it's not a big draw for them. They're already here. Now, I will say, and I don't know if Casey was in town at the time, but I remember when the levy had to go on in the first place because the state entirely lost a lot of funding in the libraries. And getting into the library whenever was convenient for myself or my wife. Kids were too young for beyond just listening to the stories. But it was hard to get in. And the times the library were open were inconvenient. And I remember that. You have to support the library. Because if it doesn't go through, we're going to return to what it was across the entire state just a few years ago, where you want to use the library, you hope it's going to time out just well whatever lunch break you have, because, and we need to make sure we don't go back to that. We need to make sure we have a library because people need it. And with it going back to, I believe it seemed like 12 hours a week, we can't have that.
John Martin. Yes, I support the library. So the library is in a unique position for the city of Piqua that also bodes well for our economic development. It is in a building that is almost 140 years old that was retrofitted to put the library in and other items in to keep it alive. And that is all part of economic development. It blends in with the riverfront, it blends in with downtown, it brings everything together to get people to come to Piqua. And when people go in the library, they're very surprised that a library is in a building like that. And I think that was one of the better moves we have made. Thank you.
In closing comments this evening, the speakers will be addressing you in the reverse order from their opening comments. Each has 1 minute to give their closing comments. We will start beginning with the candidates, followed by the representatives for the 3 issues on the ballot. Closing statements will be given by Gary Koenig, followed by Catherine Hines for the mayor for City of Piqua.
Again, my name is Gary Koenig. I'm running for 5th Ward City Commissioner and Mayor. I have found that people are excited and positive about living in the City of Piqua. The opportunity to serve the citizens of Piqua as Mayor and 5th Ward Commissioner is a good fit to my leadership background and lifetime of service. The City of Piqua has been making outstanding progress over the last few years in providing service to its citizens. We must maintain the momentum from the progress made in the last few years. We must keep raising the bar in city services over the next 4 years, but keep them affordable. Also, the City of Piqua needs more jobs. I will work diligently to advertise our shovel-ready public-private developments to bring more good jobs to Piqua when elected as your Mayor and 5th Ward City Commissioner. Thank you.
Casey Hines, 5th Ward Commission candidate and mayor. We live in a wonderful place. Our family has only been here for about 7 years, and we knew when we moved here that there was something special about Piqua. And as your mayor, I want to help the entire community and those around us to embrace that as well. We are on the verge of some amazing things happening here in our community. People are looking at Piqua. As I travel around and am part of different workshops, whether it's through the riverfront, whether it's through the Bicycle Summit, people hear the buzz that is happening in our community, and they are excited. So we need to get excited because there are some wonderful things happening, and I look forward to leading us into the future in 2015 as your mayor. Thank you.
We will now hear from the candidates from 5th Ward City of Piqua Commission, beginning with Gary Koenig and followed by Catherine Hines.
I would again like to thank the YWCA for hosting this forum. To hear more about my message, tune to WPTW FM 98.1 or AM 1570 tomorrow morning from 7:45 to 8:30. This election comes down to one word: trust. Do you trust Gary Koenig to lead the City of Piqua for the next 2 years as your mayor? There are over 20,000 people living in Piqua, therefore not everyone knows me to build this trust. However, there are people in Piqua who know me and trust me. They asked me to run for mayor. Among those people were past mayors and current and past city commissioners. I ask that you trust them and that you trust me and that you vote for Gary Koenig for mayor and 5th Ward City Commissioner. Thank you.
Catherine Hines, 5th Ward Commission candidate and mayor. I want to remind you that it's important that you vote twice. It is a little confusing in our city on how you elect your 5th Ward Commissioner and mayor, and in reality, whoever wins the 5th Ward Commission will be your mayor. So it's very important that you do vote twice for the person that you want to see as your 5th Ward Commissioner and mayor. Again, it is an honor to stand up here. It is an honor to be part of this group up here seeking to bring our city forward. We have a lot ahead of us. There is a lot on the horizon here in Piqua. The previous administration has done some wonderful, wonderful work. And again, I look forward to leading us forward into the future. We do have a lot to work on. One of the things that I've addressed numerous times in my campaign is bringing our community together. And as an outsider in our community 7 years ago, our community still has many ways that we need to bring the North and South, the East and West, the young and old, and all of those in our community together to be part of our community. Thank you.
The First Ward City of Piqua Commission candidates will have John Martin speaking first, followed by Nicholas Alexander.
I'd like to thank the Y for having this forum for us tonight. I'd like to thank all of you for coming. I've been doing this for almost 8 years now. I enjoy doing it, and I like helping people. And this gives me a really broad venue to be able to help the most people. So this is why I do this. There's not a whole, it's not money, it's not anything else. It's nice to be able to help people on a bigger scale. So remember, when you go to the polls, John Martin, re-elect me, keep the momentum going. Thank you.
Nick Alexander. Piqua's been growing again. Not necessarily in size, but in notoriety. Last weekend I was running in the Columbus Half Marathon. Halfway through, looked over, there was a Winans. And to think, looking at that one, hey, I know Joe. It's kind of a neat thing when you're an hour and a half away from home. I walk downtown a lot. We have cyclists coming in from out of state just to have lunch. Piqua's becoming well known. Not necessarily for what we were known a decade ago for, but it's going to continue. But we need to make sure we know how to navigate this change that we're going to come into. I've studied change. I've seen it in a lot of different towns. I understand how it should work, and I believe I'm the better choice for how to make that continue to go forward.
Brian Green, representing Riverside Developmental Disabilities Levy Renewal, will speak first, followed by Paul Hulskamp speaking for Miami County Bridges Levy Renewal, and closing with Jim Oda representing Piqua Public Library Levy Renewal.
Thank you. Riverside's current 5-year 2.5 mil levy will expire on December 31st, 2016. As a renewal levy, there will be no new taxes being requested. Approximately 40% of our funding comes from this levy. The ballot language uses our name of Miami County Board of Developmental Disabilities, but it does not include our name Riverside on the ballot, so if you could make that same correlation there. Nearly 900 people with developmental disabilities from age 0 to senior citizens depend on our services. We hope that the Miami County voters will continue to care by voting for the renewal levy for the Miami County Board of Developmental Disabilities. Thank you.
Paul Hulskamp, Miami County Engineer. Again, I'd like to say that at Miami County we've done an excellent job, and the citizens of Miami County have done an excellent job supporting the bridge levy in the past. We still have work to do. We're asking for a renewal, which costs the average homeowner of a $100,000 house $1.09 per month, which is fairly cheap insurance for you to have as far as the protection of yourselves as you go across bridges in Miami County. A lot of excitement goes on up here, and people talk about exciting things happening. When excitement happens in my business, it's generally not a good thing. So I'm vote for no excitement as far as bridges go by approving the 0.45 Miami County Bridge Levy. Thank you.
I thought I did jokes. Jim out of the Piqua Library Levy. Thank the YWCA for this forum that they've done year after year. We are very concerned about the passage of our 1.3 mil levy. We want to keep the free material, the free services. We want to continue being open 6 days a week, 56 hours. And we want to continue to maintain the bridge between Piqua and its citizens. That was a freebie. Thank you.
Thank you. We would like to end our forum this evening with a few comments. You may still vote in person at the Miami County Board of Elections located on the ground floor of the courthouse at 215 West Main Street in Troy on the following days: Thursday, October 22nd, and Friday, October 23rd from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday, October 26th through Friday, October 30th from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday, October 31st from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Sunday, November 1st from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. And Monday, November 2nd from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. The polls are open on Election Day, November 3rd from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Remember to take a photo ID to your polling place when you vote and announce your name to the poll worker. The YWCA Piqua does not endorse any issue or candidate. We ask you again, please complete the yellow measurement tool and turn it in to our committee members before leaving. We'd like to offer our thanks to WPTW Radio for taping tonight's event for a broadcast on 1570 AM. Western Ohio TV Consortium for taping tonight's event for later rebroadcast on Piqua Channel 5. To the Piqua Daily Call and area newspapers for promoting this evening's event. To our audience present and to those who will tune us in later. And especially, though, our thanks to the candidates and to the issue representatives for caring enough to participate in the Meet the Candidates event. Please join me now in offering a round of applause to all of them. Remember to vote. It's your responsibility. Thank you.